Nate Gottlieb here with Mike Potter and Eric Mueller for Keith Moyer's Journalism 4990 Sports Journalism class, coming to you at Radio K Studios on Friday, December 6th. So we're going to start prognosticating the Gophers' Big Ten portion of their schedule. They started with Michigan on January 2nd, Pitino's first Big Ten game. Michigan's tough. They were national championship attendees last year. They lost in the national championship game, I believe, to Kansas.
It was Louisville.
Louisville, that's
yes,
correct.
They lost Pitino's father. Yep.
And they're going to be back at the barn. Nick Stauskas and Mitch McGarity lead them. They lost Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway Jr. last year. Guys, what do you think about Minnesota's chances in the Pitino's first Big Ten contest?
Michigan right now, they're 5-3. They've lost to Duke, which is always an NCAA caliber team. But they also have losses to Iowa State and Charlotte. So I don't know if Michigan's lost to Iowa State and Charlotte, maybe the Gophers can be another loss, and Gophers can pull out that win. Hopefully, they can play tough. But Michigan's always tough usually.
Right.
And I really think with Pitino's going to be excited for that game. He's going to have that team fired up, his first Big Ten game.
Right.
I don't think it's impossible for the Gophers to win that one.
Yeah.
Mo Walker's going to be
suspension.
He's back from suspension now. He's going to have a couple games under his belt to get back into the flow of, he's got the last four kind of warm-up games is what I'll refer to him as, to get back into the swing of playing NCAA basketball.
Right.
And he's going to make a difference. Should be a really good. Either way, it's going to be a great game.
Right. So Gophers, regardless of whether they win or lose, they got two games after that. Purdue and Penn State. They got to win one of those, you figure, because Michigan State coming up their fourth Big Ten contest on January 11th. That figures to be one that you're not going to win going into Michigan State at the Breslin Center.
Right. Not as of right now,
No.
Not with the team that they're putting on the court.
Right.
They're number one in the nation right now.
Izzo played tough against was that Kentucky and Calipari's team.
They beat Kentucky.
They beat them. They played them tough early in the season. They have returners like Keith Appling, and Adrian Payne. They should be good. Talk about Gary Harris. He should be a good contributor this year as a sophomore.
Seriously, he's Big Ten preseason player of the year. You gotta like him to continue putting up numbers that he's been doing so far earlier this season, and he's going to be a key part of their success or their lack thereof. And so for the Gophers, it's Michigan State on the 11th, and then Ohio State, another tough one. Iowa, Wisconsin. It doesn't get any easier, and it's gonna be a tough Big Ten schedule. Where do you guys kind of see them finishing in terms of the 18 Big Ten games?
Probably, I don't know, I'd say like 9th in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll be 500, be able to get half of those Big Ten wins.
Right.
Yeah, the Big Ten is definitely one of the most competitive conferences in college basketball and consistently putting good teams on the court. It's Pitino's first year. I think 500 or a little below would be a good year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a 500. So if they win 9-9 in the Big Ten, that'd be 500. Let's assume they're going to win their next four non-conference games and finish 11-2. So there'd be 20-11, which last year they were 21 or they finished the season with 20 wins, and then they won one game in the NCAA tournament. Where would you guys see their NCAA chances at if they finish at 500 in the conference?
I think they got an okay shot at making the tournament. They're going to need to get some big name wins.
Right.
They're going to have to step up and beat an Ohio State or a Wisconsin, one of the higher ranked teams in the Big Ten throughout that, and they have to win games. They have to get to 20 wins. If they don't make 20 wins, I don't see them making the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right now I feel they're probably going to be a bubble team. They could not maybe make that tournament. But it's all depending on getting those marquee wins. They got that marquee win last year against Indiana. Anything can happen. It's basketball, but if they can get a marquee win like Indiana, it's probably not going to be like a number one team like that this year. But if they can get another marquee win like that this year, that would help them a lot for
Yeah,
sure.
and to get that win and to keep that consistency in the conference, they're gonna have to get some production from their big men at some point. And we've discussed it. It's been a question mark. Who do you have? You have Mo Walker, Elliot Eliason, Joey King is 6'9", but what else do you have there? It's just it's the question mark going forward.
Exactly. Like Joey King, he showed himself early in the season. The Drake transfer. He showed he's a big man. He shows he can play hard. Elliot Eliason has shown he's gotten the boards. He's getting offensive and defensive rebounds. Mo Walker, he's shown a little rust coming back from the suspension, but he should be a key contributor as a big man for sure this season.
Yeah, no, that's true, and it's going to come down to those guys, especially Elliot Eliason. He's going to log a lot of minutes this year.
Right, and right now he's second. Again, it's still very early in the season, and the Big Ten schedule hasn't started yet. But today he's sitting at second overall in the Big Ten in rebounds.
Right.
And him rebounding and then the outlet passes are going to be a key to, especially in Pitino's up-paced game. He's got to be able to get those boards and get it out to the quick guys on the ends.
Yeah, and with the pace they should be shooting at this year, it's all going to come down, I think, to whether they're going to shoot the ball well. And frankly, there's going to be games where they just don't shoot well. It's just the nature of the Big Ten. But then you'll have the games where you play a team comparable to Florida State, maybe a Purdue, and you shoot well, and you're going to win some of those games, and that could be the difference going forward. But it's early in the season. It's going to be a long season. We'll learn a lot about Pitino and his merit as a coach. But in terms of his early season, what are you guys seeing from him so far that you like or don't like?
I like the fast pace. It's right now Otto Osinix, Elliot Eliason. They've kind of gone into the system. They've shown that they like the system a lot. They've said yes, we will go with the system, and they're thriving at the moment. Otto's probably playing the best basketball I've seen him play as a Gopher, and Elliot Eliason. They're both finding their niche in the system for sure.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure. And Pitino's been fiery on the bench, especially Florida State last week.
Yeah, that the youth and just energy that Pitino brings to the team. Getting angry about the call, throwing down his tie. And I know some of the more classic fans aren't fans. I love an energetic coach.
Yeah.
When something's going wrong, I like the coach to it looks like they know something's going wrong. And
Right.
you feel like that's the only way they're going to fix it.
You must have hated Tubby Smith last year.
It was pretty boring.
Yeah.
You know, if something, I think emotion's a big part of sports.
Yeah.
And, you know, being happy when you're doing good and being angry when you're not is important.
Right.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You gotta. Hopefully, Pitino can instill that in the players too, and get some sort of sense of urgency about them.
So I think the biggest thing about this season is the Gophers having a decent year, and then Pitino's recruiting class
Absolutely.
for next year.
Absolutely.
Because right now he's playing with Tubby Smith's players,
Mhm.
the guys that Tubby Smith recruited for his system. And that's not a knock against the players,
Right.
but what Pitino's going to look for in his recruiting class is different from what Tubby Smith was looking for with his recruiting class.
Absolutely.
So it's the Gophers maybe make the tournament, get a marquee win, get their name in the news a little bit more. Pitino's name is already a classic
It's already
name.
got a big name.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of resounding
Right.
meaning.
You hear Pitino,
connotations.
maybe you think of his dad immediately, who just won
National
the
championship.
national championship last year, and so I think that's a big part of this season.
No question. I like where the program's heading. I mean, it's so early, but I like the fact that they hired a young coach. It'll be fun to watch, no
Yeah.
matter
Absolutely.
kind of what happens.
Exactly. Right now, it's very exciting basketball, very
Yeah.
fast paced. Mo Walker has shed all that weight. He's probably he's in really great shape, and he's ready for this system. He knows it's going to be fast, and he wants to be with the system. That's why he shed all that weight in the off season, and it's gonna be fast and fun and exciting to watch, I think.
Absolutely. So in terms of the top of the Big Ten, consensus is that Gophers will be in kind of the bottom part. But if we take a look at the top of the Big Ten, there's Michigan State ranked number 1 right now. They're gonna fall after that loss to North Carolina earlier this week. And you got Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Of those 4, and I guess you can throw in Indiana, Iowa, Purdue, whatever you need. But where do you see kind of the pecking order of the conference? Where do you see it shaking out from top to bottom?
Michigan State's going to be 1 and Ohio State's going to be 2. I don't think there's a question there. I personally, I think I got Wisconsin at 3. I know a lot of people have Michigan at 3. I have Michigan at 4. Indiana, Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, the Gophers, and then Northwestern, Penn State, and Nebraska to round out the bottom 3.
What else? So Gophers. So that puts the Gophers at 9th. Eric, you kind of see that Big Ten shaking out the same way.
Yeah, I see Michigan State, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana. They're probably going to be those top. They're going to be that top tier Big Ten teams for sure. Iowa, they look to be on an upswing. Fran McCafferty, he's leading that team really well. They made it to the NIT championship game last season. They could have made the NCAA tournament, but they went to the NIT. But yeah, I feel they're on an upswing. They have a lot of good players. They should be good. They should shake up this league for sure.
Yeah. Nationally, before we go, you guys have a pick that you like for the national championship this year? Thought about it yet?
Not really.
No. I suppose you can't fill out your bracket until March. But.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. It's one of those you can't write out Patino's dad.
Yeah.
Louisville,
Absolutely.
maybe. I don't know. They did really well last year. Maybe they can win it again. I'm not exactly sure. But then you have a lot of other good teams. I do like Duke, and I like who's the big man they got from Chicago.
Jabari Parker.
Jabari Parker.
Absolutely.
He's been putting up great numbers. I feel they will be doing really well as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because of the whole one and done rule in college basketball, I try not to look too far ahead because I know a lot of those superstar freshmen from last year, they're gone now.
Right.
You know, and I like Duke's chances. I think Duke can make a good run at it. Don't count out Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
I think Michigan State has as good of a chance as anybody in the country right now to go to the national championship. And I guess if I have to say one, I'll take Michigan State today.
That's a fair pick. A lot of people would agree with you on that. Before we go,
Who's your pick?
my pick, I would say, tough one. I don't know. I like Kentucky. I think those freshmen, I read in something that 6 of their players are going to go in the first round or something next year. They'll gel before the end of the year. I think they'll be a tough team to beat. Nate Gottlieb. I'm Nate Gottlieb.
I'm Mike Potter.
I'm Eric Mueller, Journalism 4990.
Yeah.
For Keith Moyer, signing off.